Hello, good morning friends. Welcome back to your favorite channel Code One Digest. Today in this video we will learn about external configuration design pattern for microservices. I'll explain you what is external configuration design pattern, where to use it, what are the advantages of this design pattern, and I will also give you the real world examples of this design pattern. So stay tuned and do watch this video till end. It is going to be very exciting and very informative tutorial for you. There is a lot of learning in this video. Friends, in the previous video, we discussed about health check design pattern. Can you explain what is health check design pattern all about? Provide your answer in the comment section of this video. And if you have not seen that video, so please go and watch that video. The link is provided on your screen and also given in the description section of this video. So for more information on this design pattern, go and watch the previous video on Code One Digest channel.
There's no agenda here.
Friends, here is the agenda of this tutorial today. I will give you introduction of external configuration design pattern. Then I'll cover the real world example of external configuration design pattern. Then I'll show you the use cases of external configuration design pattern. Then we'll understand the benefits of using external configuration design pattern. And at the end, I'll summarize what we learned in this tutorial. And I'll also touch upon our next video on service discovery design pattern. So stay tuned till end of this video. It is going to be very informative and very exciting tutorial today. Right friends? Friends, before we proceed in this video, I request you to subscribe this channel to grow Code One Digest family. Friends, I am creating a lot of quality videos on programming, coding concepts, design pattern and design principles, cloud and container technologies, but I'm not getting subscribers. I request you to like, share and subscribe this channel so that I can grow our Code One Digest family. Thank you. Okay friends, so now let's start with external configuration design pattern. Just for your information friends, this is the first design pattern in cross-cutting concern design pattern category. In the previous video, we covered about health check design pattern and it was the last design pattern in observability design pattern category. And this is the first design pattern in cross-cutting concern design pattern category. Okay, friends. So external configuration design pattern suggests to move the configuration information out of the application package to a centralized location. This can provide opportunity for easier management and control of the configuration data and for sharing the configuration data across applications and application instances. So you may be running multiple applications or multiple instances of an application. So if you externalize your configuration to a central repository, you can reuse that configuration with the multiple instances or multiple applications. Right, friends? The majority of the application runtime environment includes configuration information that's held in a file deployed with the application. However, any changes to the configuration requires the redeployment of application and that resulting in unacceptable downtime and other administrative overhead. And whenever we use local configuration file with the application, that limits the configuration to a single application. But sometimes it would be useful to share the configuration setting across the multiple applications. Example include a database connection strings, the URL of the queues and storage, etc. It's a challenging to manage the changes to the local configuration across multiple running instances of application, especially in the cloud-hosted scenarios. It can result in the instances using different configuration settings while the update is being deployed. The pattern suggests to store the configuration information in external storage and provide an interface that can be used to quickly and efficiently read and update the configuration settings. The type of external store depends on the hosting and runtime environment of the application. In cloud hosted scenario, it's typically a cloud-based storage service or dedicated configuration service, but could be a hosted database or other custom system. The storage you choose for the configuration information should have an interface that provides a consistent and easy to access. It should expose the information in a correctly typed and structured format. The implementation might also need to authorize users access in order to protect configuration data and be flexible enough to allow storage of multiple versions of the configuration, such as development, staging, or production, including multiple releases. Many built-in configuration systems read the data when the application starts up and cache the data in a memory to provide fast access and minimize the impact on the application performance. Depending on the type of storage used and the latency of the storage, it might be helpful to implement a caching mechanism within the external configuration storage. Using this design pattern allow an application to run into multiple environments, example development, testing, production, without any modification in the application itself. In microservice architectures, systems are split into several services, each one usually running in a separate processes. Each process can be deployed and scaled independently. And this means there will be many instances of same microservice running at a certain time. Hence, we need external configuration management to fast track of scaling the instances. Let's say you want to modify the configuration for a microservice that has been replicated 100 times. If the configuration for this microservice is packed with the code itself, then we will have to redeploy all the 100 instances again. Externalized configuration works by keeping the configuration information in a external storage such as database, file system, or environment variables. At a startup, microservice loads the configuration from external storage and save it to a local cache. During runtime, microservices provide an option to reload the configuration without having to restart the service.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Let's see how external configuration design pattern works. So friends, you can see in this diagram, all the applications are referring to an external configuration storage for their configuration data. We have to choose the external configuration storage that offers acceptable performance, high availability, robustness, and can be backed up as a part of application maintenance and administration process. In a cloud hosted application, use a cloud storage mechanism or dedicated configuration platform service that is usually a good choice to meet the requirement. Ensure that configuration interface can expose the configuration data in a required format. Consider how to protect the configuration data to allow access to only appropriate users and application. This is likely a feature of configuration store interface, but it's also necessary to ensure that data in the storage can't be accessed directly without the appropriate permission. If an application caches the configuration information, the application needs to be alerted if configuration changes. It might be possible to implement an expiration policy over the cached configuration data so that this information is automatically refreshed periodically and the changes are picked up.
No.
Okay, friends, now let's understand the external configuration design pattern with an example. In this example, we have demo application. This demo application includes a config server that provides configuration data to microservices. The config server application can be registered with the discovery server application to allow microservices to discover it without knowing its exact location. The business application starts up and asks the discovery server for the location of the config server. The discovery server returns the location of config server. The business application asks the config server for the configuration data, that is key value pair. The config server reads the configuration value from external storage, which happens to be in a Git repository. The values are returned to the business application, and the administrator of the application modifies the configuration stored in a Git repository and commits the changes. Administrator notifies the business application about the change in a configuration, and application need to reload the configuration.
Wow!
Okay friends, now let's understand external configuration design pattern with another example. In this diagram, we can see the pattern is about moving the configuration information out of the application deployment package to a central storage. It can provide opportunities for easier management and control of configuration data and for sharing the configuration data across the application and application instances. In microservice architecture, we have several instances of different services. We can choose to embed the read and reload feature from the externalized configuration storage in the services, or to dedicate this feature to a standalone configuration server. We can externalize all the configuration from a database credential to network URLs. Services will read the configuration data during the startup from a properties file or environment variable. This pattern helps in deploying the microservices without any modification or recompilation needed. There is some advantages of using the configuration server, like less flow of exchange between the services and external configuration storage. Our system become independent of the implementation of the external configuration storage. The standalone configuration server can use the service discovery pattern and service registry pattern to scale horizontally.
What? I do not understand.
Okay, friends, so now let's see some of the use cases of the design pattern, where and how to use the design pattern, in which particular scenario this pattern can be useful. So use external configuration design pattern to share the config between the multiple application and their instances. Use this pattern to use configuration from external storage for easy scaling of the services. Use this pattern to avoid redeployment of application for any configuration changes at the runtime. Use this pattern to allow multiple environments of the application like dev, QA, staging, production by just changing the config data in a configuration storage.
What the hell are you talking about?
Okay friends, so now let's see some of the advantages of this design pattern. What are the benefits we get out of external configuration design pattern? Let's understand that. Using this design pattern, it becomes easier to manage the configuration at centralized storage. Easy scaling of services using external configuration. As the configuration is externalized, hence we can easily scale the number of instances we want, and all of these instances will be loading the configuration from a central repository. Easy updating of the configuration for multiple services. Assume you may be running hundreds instances of a service and you just want to update a config parameter like database URL or a URL of another service or event bus. Hence, by just changing in a configuration server, it will get refreshed in all the 100 services automatically at runtime. We can easily update the configuration for multiple services without restarting or redeploying of those services. Right, friends?
Really?
Okay, friends, now let me summarize what we learned in this tutorial today. I gave you introduction of external configuration design pattern. Then I shown you the real world example of external configuration design pattern. Then I explained you the use cases of external configuration design pattern, where and how to use this design pattern. Then we also understood the benefits and advantages of external configuration design pattern. So friends, let me know if you have already used this design pattern in any of your projects or seen a scenario where this pattern can be very useful, and provide your answer in the comment section of this video.
Wow, that's amazing.
Friends, in the next video, we will discuss about service discovery design pattern. I will explain you what is service discovery design pattern all about. Then I'll also explain the real world example of service discovery design pattern. We will understand the use cases of service discovery design pattern, and we'll also understand the benefits of service discovery design pattern. So stay tuned for the next video and keep watching Code One Digest. If you are new to the channel, so please do subscribe to our channel to grow Code One Digest family. Thank you.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Good plan. Good talk, all right?
Friends, if you like this video, so give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for the more interesting videos. Click on the bell icon for the latest video notifications, and do not forget to share this video with all your friends and colleagues. This is very useful information for students, beginners, and software engineers. I am putting a lot of efforts in creating these contents, so please help me growing the Code One Digest family. Please subscribe to Code One Digest channel for the latest programming and technology related videos. Thank you.